It seems all I ever do is attend funerals, Mary Beth Kruger murmured as the cemetery caretakers began shoveling dirt over her father's casket. Just days ago, all had been well. She and Papa had been talking about the coming of Christmas. Papa had agreed to freight a load of grain to Evansville from a farm 30 miles out. A snowstorm blew in and made the conditions worse than anyone had seen in years. The sheriff told Mary Beth that Klaus Kruger was nearly to his destination just beyond Pigeon Creek when tragedy struck. The horses got spooked by the wind and snow, and the wagon ended up upside down at the end of the bridge. The doctor said Papa had broken his neck and died instantly. Mary Beth supposed that was better than lingering in pain and suffering. But best would have been if he hadn't had the accident at all. Her little sister Carrie wasn't even 2 years old, and at the age of 20, with no husband or living relatives, Mary Beth had no means to support her. What were either of them to do? She felt someone touch her shoulder and turned. It was Edward Vogel, her dearest friend in all the world. She saw the dampness in his eyes. He and her father had been close. She and Edward's wife, Janie, had been lifelong friends. But Janie's was another tragic death that weighed heavy on Mary Beth.
"You ready to go home?"
Edward asked her. "I feel like I have no home." She looked across the cemetery. "I keep thinking of all the dead. There are so many. Our lives have been short moments of joy encompassed by sorrow and death." He looked toward where Janie and his son were buried, and Mary Beth couldn't help but follow his gaze. He'd married Janie after returning from the war, and then Janie had delivered a stillborn son and died herself shortly after. Mary Beth had been devastated by Janie's death. They had been so very close. They were surrounded by the graves of their departed loved ones. Mary Beth's mother had died 7 years earlier. Mary Beth's stepmother, Sarah, had died after giving life to Carrie. Now her father was gone as well. For Edward, there was Janie and his son, his mother and 2 brothers who died in the war.